you very much for coming to this session. My name is Dr. Suklansha and I'm a professor of physics at College University, Lahore. Could you please hold on for a minute? I hope that you can see me and hear me clearly. Today I am going to present some smart tips and tricks about reading, writing, and publishing manuscripts in natural sciences. As you know, the research is all about creating new knowledge, generating some kind of novelty, uh, the novel ideas, the novel concepts that do not exist before. So it is actually the current knowledge, the current state of knowledge that actually leads towards the new knowledge, that you contribute something entirely new that did not exist earlier. In other words, you say that we, by doing research, we fill the gaps that are already existing in some particular field. So, literature review is actually the backbone of a very good research. If you do a comprehensive and a smart literature review, your synopsis, your research projects, your proposals, your hypotheses, they will be very good ones. Smart literature review is the backbone for the research. And regarding this, I shall briefly mention that whenever you start your literature review, you need to start with the review articles. First of all, you make a decision. You decide into yourself that what particular research area you want to proceed into, and then you find the research articles, the review articles, particularly from the Google Scholar, uh, and you sort them out according to their citation index, the number of citations that paper has received, and the type of journals in which it has been published. And when you read a couple of review articles, you get the main idea that is the major, what are the major developments in that particular field up till that day. And you also know that what are the research gaps in that field. And then now you narrow down your research to some specialized topics, particularly in some specialized topics. In that, you again you search the literature, the review, the research articles that are highly well cited in different journals. They are that are from the high impact factor papers. I will always recommend that always read articles from the high citation journals, and always read the high impact papers, because if you go to Google Scholar and if you try to search from some research repository, you know it is an ocean of knowledge. And from ocean of knowledge, searching the pearls of wisdom, the very crucial and important papers is very important. So you are not going to waste your time on reading some kind of junk material in which there is some useless information. You only want to read those papers which are already highly cited in the international community among the researchers. So always go for the most cited articles if they are the old ones. And of course, when an article is highly cited, it means it is more prestigious and it has been written by the pioneers of that particular field. And then you narrow down your research to the most recent papers. For example, if you are starting your literature review today, uh, you must be also reading the articles that were published in 2024, 2023. And again, your criteria must be they must be highly cited papers, and particularly they must be from the high impact journals. So do not waste your time on the low impact papers, because they won't contribute to your productivity in the research. Now, once you have downloaded your research papers, there are different ways to read them. I've seen people reading on the screen. I always prefer and I recommend my students to read those research papers by taking the printouts on a paper. And when you read those articles, you always read articles with different perspectives. You know, a research paper has different sections. There's a title, abstract, introduction, materials and methods, results, discussions, conclusions. And every time you want to read a research paper, you emphasize on a different aspect. For example, now if you want to understand the fundamentals of that particular research and you want to see that what are the current research gaps into that area of research, you majorly focus on the introduction section, because introduction of every article, it is actually a brief literature review that includes the research gaps that you want to target for your to build a new hypothesis or to write a new research proposal or research synopsis. And once you have done that, your research synopsis has been approved. You later on go to the materials and methods section, and then you read the articles with that focus that you want to learn that how to perform those experiments. And once those experiments have been performed, your later stage is to determine that how to arrange the data, how to collect the data, and how to present that data, how to plot it in different graphs. And after doing that, now you want to interpret it, comes to the data interpretation and analysis of the data. And then you go to the conclusion. So you see that you may have to read one paper several times. So it is always a good habit, and I always recommend it, and I always do it myself, that I use my pen and I label and I do a lot of paper work, pencil work on my paper, as you see, as you can see in the screen, that I take the notes for each paper, for each section. On the top of the paper, I mention the specific and very important keywords that this paper talks about. Then on each section, like in the introduction section, you can see that I have created certain notes with my pen. And similarly, each and every paragraph, everything that you read on a research paper and that you think that later on it will be useful for you when you will be writing your own research articles, you have to highlight it. You have to create some notes on the paper. Because remember, when to in the next stage, when you have conducted your research, when it will be the research writing, you will be using the particular technical jargon, a very scientific and technical jargon, a language that you should be borrowing from these research papers. These research papers lay a foundation for you, lay a basic for you, in which you will be using this particular jargon. You will understand, you will learn the type of jargon, the type of language, the technical language, the academic format of this language, and you should be borrowing these things. And so, whenever you are writing your own paper, you should be referring back to these papers. And if you have already arranged them, if you have already annotated them and created notes with a pencil, uh, just imagine that you have read 100 research articles, and now you want to refer back to some paper in which, in the back of your mind, you already know that about certain thing you read somewhere, but you do not know where it was, in which paper it was. Would you read those 100 papers again? No. If you have already created certain notes with a pencil and you have saved that, created that library, kind of library, you just have to scroll the title pages and you can just find maybe in 5 minutes which the research paper you are talking about. So I always recommend students to annotate with a pencil, with a pen, create notes on the research paper, because I'm telling you, you will be needing this type of language and jargon when you are writing your own research paper. You cannot write your own research paper in isolation in space. This is the type of language, this is the type of academic format, this type of jargon, the technical academic jargon that you should be borrowing from here, of course, using in your own words, uh, using your in your own way, but you should be using. So I always recommend that this is the first thing that you should be, when you're writing, when you're reading a research paper, always use pen and do it on the paper. Now, today is the age of artificial technology, artificial intelligence, and things have been very easy now. I hope that some of you will be familiar with different artificial intelligence tools that people are using today, and it's a technology. The technology is advancing, and we cannot lag back. We cannot sit idle. We have to adopt ourselves according to the modern technology. Uh, I'm introducing to you, if you do not know already, this is typeset.io, and I extensively use it. It is very helpful. There are many things that you can do on this typeset.io. It is created by SciSpace. The thing that I want to introduce to you is that if you look at the cursor, it is a chat with PDF. What is this about? What you do, you click on it and you attach a PDF manuscript. Manuscript which is in a PDF format. You attach a file and it will open the file, as you can see on the screen. This is my own paper that you are seeing on the screen. Now, after doing that, if you look at this artificial intelligence first learns this paper. Now, if you look at the right side, you are chatting with, now you want to chat with the PDF file. Imagine that this is some person. If I'm the first author, Saklanisha, and you're talking to me, you just, there are some by default paper, questions that you can ask, like generate summary of this paper, results of the paper, conclusions from the paper, explain extract of this paper, what are the contributions of this paper, find relating papers. There are many questions you can ask. These are the default questions that are already embedded into this system. If you click find related papers, you click and it will create a list of a similar kind of papers. And that will be accurately and precisely the similar papers in this particular field and in this particular topic. If you want to generate some kind of summary, you don't want to read the entire manuscript, and you just want to know. You would just want to learn smartly by saving your time that what is this paper all about. Just press generate the summary of this paper, and it will generate summary. You select some paragraph, and you say that it's very difficult and very complex jargon it has. You just say, you can just type a question, see, it ask any question. You just type that explain this paragraph in the easiest possible way, in the simple way, and it will explain that thing into very simple ways. You can ask about the uh, what are the research methods have been used, and what the research explain characterization techniques have been used. You can ask if that if X-ray diffraction has been used in the study, what were its operational parameters. You just ask it anything, and whatever is there in this research paper, it will extract that information precisely and accurately, and it will show you. So now you are talking to a research paper. You imagine that 10 years ago, 5 years ago, this was not possible. So how the research reading has become so efficient, has been so smart with the emergence of these tools. This type site.io has also had different other uses also. It has some free features and some are paid. If you want to submit your manuscript to certain journal, and every journal has certain author instructions about the formatting. Every journal has a unique time of formatting, and you want to convert your research article into a particular format. You just press the button, select that particular journal, press the button, and within 2 to 3 minutes, it will generate a Microsoft Word file fully formatted according to that particular journal that you have mentioned. So you don't need to format headings and their different subscripts and superscripts and their citations and formats manually. You don't have to do it manually. Just press the button and it will generate an output file that is absolutely required by the journal format. There is another, similarly, on this typeset.io, I selected a paragraph, and the moment I select it, a window opens. It says explain text. If you want to explain the text in simple words, explain it. It will just explain it. Then summarize it. You can summarize it. And if you want to find the relevant papers to this particular paragraph, the related papers to this paragraph only, it will find you the paper. It will get you the papers. You can do some other things also. There is another very important tools that is useful for smart reading of the research papers, and that is R discovery. It is, you may call it a repository of millions of research papers that are present in this repository. It has also some free features and some paid features. If you just press this R discovery, ask R discovery, ask it any question of your field. I mean, if you want to ask that what is the fundamental mechanism of superparamagnetism, if you find it on Google, you will see millions of different links, and keep doing it, and every link will be giving some kind of complex information. But if you just ask it, you are talking to it, ask it, and it will generate the most relevant uh, information in the easiest possible way. It is particularly useful, to find the information, the scientific and technical information that is particularly relevant uh, to a narrowed down research article that is not easy to find on even not on ChatGPT, not even on the Google Scholar. So this is very helpful tool, and there are some other features of this art discovery tool is that you can listen to a research paper. You don't have to read it. You're driving in your car. You just turn it on and select the paper, and it will start talking. It will talk and you will listen. So there are some other very important features that you can use this tool, and I always use these two tools, are discovery and typeset.io, for efficient and smart literature review. Now, I assume that we have conducted all that literature review, and we have even performed the experiments. We have All the studies have been conducted now. All the experiments have been performed. We have acquired the data. We have arranged that data. We have interpreted, analyzed it. We have established the conclusions on the rough paper. We have established whether our hypothesis was meeting or not. Now we are ready to write a story and sell it to the world. I am talking about the research writing, certain smart tips and tricks that I shall be telling you, which will not find in books. So this is something special that I'm telling you. I'm doing it for the first time. So I'm talking about research writing. Always remember that research paper format, when it is in the published form, it is title, abstract, introduction, methods, results, discussions, conclusions, and references. This is the published format, as you already know. But when it comes to writing these articles, you never follow this pattern. You never write the title at the first, and you never write the conclusions at the end. This is at least what I know. Many people, the professionals, do, and I do it myself. When it comes to writing an article, you have to start with the information that is most easily available to you, that is most easily available to you on fingertips. And naturally, that is the materials and methods, the methods that you followed. Since you have already experimented, you have performed experiments, this section is very easy to write. So always start with methods and experimentals. And the next thing that is easily available to you, which is easy to write, is results. You results, you plot, you put the graphs, and after doing results, the most important section in a research paper is the discussion section, in which you interpret the data and you discuss the data, you discuss the new science that you have generated. So actually, research paper is not just the collection of a bunch of data. In fact, it is how you interpret those results, how you discuss those results, how you analyze those results, and then how you generate the new knowledge. And this discussion section is the single most important section in a research paper that actually decides what will be your impact factor and how would it attract citations. And after writing discussions, then you write conclusions. After writing conclusions, now you come to the introduction section. Now you write the brief of the topic, the introduction of that particular topic. You Now you are clear in your mind that during writing all those upper sections, uh, what were those research gaps that you were trying to fill? And now you write the existing research gaps, and then you, in the last paragraph, mostly, you link the existing literature and the gaps with your own current study that you have already conducted. And after doing introduction, now you have the complete picture of your research article. Now you will write the abstract at the end. It will be concise, it will be focused, and in the next slide, I shall uh, tell you precisely that in each section, what are the important things that you are looking for. So after writing an abstract, title is the thing that is written at the end. You always create a title at the end. So in the published form, title is the first thing, and in the writing format, the title is at the end. Now, I want all of you to take the picture uh, of this slide. This is very, very important, the single most important slide in this entire discussion. Uh, so it is the critical review of your man. Once you have written a research manuscript, now you have to ask yourself certain questions. That is your manuscript ready for submission? This is your self-review, which is very, very important. You have to ask yourself, is the title clear, concise, and representative of the study? Does the title overstate or understate the findings of the study? You have to ask yourself, does the abstract present the rationale of the study before discussing the purpose? Does the abstract clearly define the purpose of the study? Does the abstract include a brief description of the methods, what was done, and results, what was found? Does the abstract conclude with the conclusion and implications? Are the methods and results in the abstract over descriptive? You would discuss about you will see about keywords, about introduction. Is the background information relevant to the study? Important one, have the gaps the existing literature been clarified in the introduction? Is the rationale of the study clear? Have the objectives been stated clearly? Does the introduction exclude details about methods and results? In materials and methods, you have to follow these certain protocols and have you defined all these variables, particularly in results and discussions. Does the order of the results correspond to that of the methods? Have the author stated whether the proposed hypothesis was verified or falsified? Uh, have previous studies with similar findings been cited? Have studies with dissimilar findings been cited in the discussion? Have the limitations been mentioned? And then you ask this question to yourself about the conclusion. So you can take the picture of this slide, which will be very, very helpful for you. Okay, what are the different elements of scientific writing? Your article, your scientific writing must be clear and readable. It must have clarity and readability. Readability means easy to understand. The information must be concise. The sentences, the expressions, the information that you are giving, it must be concise, must be precise, accurate. You have to avoid wordy expressions. You will be using substitutional words. You will try to limit uh, try to avoid the extra use of words. I mean, if you can write a sentence in 10 words, you don't have to spend 20 words. You have to use extra space for that purpose. And I will give you some examples. You have to maintain consistency in the use of different terms and abbreviations. It must be very simple jargon, but technical and formal. Technical, formal, and academic jargon. Preferably, it must be active voice, but passive voice also works. And then you have to maintain that whether it is American style or the British, whether it is American English or British English. Because in the very high impact journals like Royal Society of Chemistry and American Chemical Society or American Institute of Physics, uh, in their journal instructions, author instructions, they always give a preference that you have to write it in American English or you have to write it in British English. You have to be very careful about it. And I will give you some examples. You have to make sure that you are writing a native style, not a non-native style. I will give you some examples of the native style. So, smart tips and tricks in academic writing. Do not begin titles, headings, and figure and table captions with an article, a, and, the. You can take pictures if you want. These are very smart tips. It will make your review process very easy, because I have seen and many people have seen that most of the research manuscripts, which are very good in quality, in academic quality, but they make certain errors. They lack the quality of the English language, that the reviewer sends the paper back to the author and asks us to get it reviewed by some native speaker, and its English language, its grammar must be flawless. Trust me, if you take these pictures and you just follow these instructions that I'm telling you now, uh, I think 80% of your errors shall be removed. They will be eliminated by just following these instructions. So never begin your titles, headings, figure and table captions with an article, a and the, most of the times, unless it is very necessary in special cases. Abbreviations must be defined at the first use in the abstract as well as in the main text. If abstract includes abbreviations more than once, you have to define it over there. And then again in the main text, you have to define the abbreviation another time. Do not define an abbreviation if it is not repeated. You cannot use it just once. You will use it an abbreviation only if it is repeated. Once an abbreviation is defined, you have to use it. You have always to use it. Do not start a sentence with conjunctions like and, but, also. Instead, use conjunctive adverbs or transitional phrases like moreover, furthermore, in addition, however, nonetheless. Because using it with and, but, and also is a typical non-native. It's Asian style and Arabic style, Chinese style. He walked, initially it was, he walked about around 5 kilometers. So about around is a non-native style. You have to use the word approximately 5 kilometers. Do not begin, always put a space between numbers and their units. As you see above, it is 5 kilometers and there's a space. And most of the people, they make a mistake and they remove the space. You have to keep a space between the number and the units. Never write the abbreviated form of the figure, word figure. Don't write start a sentence with fig dot. I mean, every sentence must be started with complete word. Figure 1 shows the XRD plots. Do not start a sentence with numbers like 5 men went home. No, you have to write FIVE when you start a sentence. You cannot start a sentence with numbers. Do not use the short form don't, doesn't, didn't kind of expression in academic writer. Instead, you have to write do not, does not, did not. Adverbs that end up in ly and an adjective preceding a noun are not hyphenated. For example, a highly respected professor. You don't have to put a hyphen between highly and respected because highly is ending at ly. Another non-native style mostly we start a sentence with to observe stars. He used a telescope. I mean, this sentence is grammatically correct, but it is non-native style. So try to write in the way. He used a telescope to observe stars. We improved the film's flexibility and transparency of the transparency. So this is called the film's flexibility. This is called sex on genitives, and you always avoid sex on genitives in academic writing. Instead, you will write, we improved the flexibility and transparency of the film. A single space should be inserted between and after mathematical operators and symbols in equations like these operators equal, minus, plus, greater than, equal than. You have always to put a space between these operators. So here is, I will briefly describe to you what is non-native style versus what is the native style. And the high impact journals, they always recommend the authors to write in the native expressions, write in native style. And if it is written in by the non-native people, uh, they always recommend to pass their articles or get it edited through the native speakers. Now, what are non-native and natives? Native people, the native speakers or writers are those who were born and who got their education in the English-speaking countries like America, UK, Canada, Australia. These are the English-speaking countries by nature, and so the people having education from those countries, they write in a native style. There are different accents and there are different ways, even of speaking different languages, even of Punjabi and Urdu. So you can say that these are different accents of English writing and English speaking. So what are the difference between non-native and native expressions? So all these Chinese and East Asians, Asians, Arabs, in fact, everyone, every country that is non-English speaking, their people mostly write non-native English. So you can see, and you will notice in these examples that even the expressions are correct grammatically. They are correct grammatically. They are giving a correct message, and you can read it. It is understandable. But when you see how the native style writes in a different way, like in a non-native style, light is sucked into a black hole. But a native person will write, light is trapped by the strong gravitational pull of a black hole. Non-native, heat makes atoms move faster. Native, increasing temperature increases the kinetic energy of atoms. You see, the same information is being provided, but the native style is given in a very different and beautiful way. Non-native, atoms are hooks that bond together. Native, atoms form bonds through interactions between electrons. Non-native, salt dissolves by melting in water. Native, salt dissociates into ions when it dissolves in water. Non-native, genes jump from one DNA strand to another. Native, genes are transferred between DNA molecules through genetic recombination. Plants eat sunlight. It's a typical uh, Indian, Pakistani, Chinese style. Plants eat sunlight. Native speakers write, plants convert sunlight into chemical energy through photosynthesis. You see that in all these examples, the message is the same and it is understandable. The grammar is same, but the native writer makes a difference by its beautiful jargon, by its beautiful expression in an academic and formal way. American versus British expressions. You need to. I will give you a brief introduction. There are certain spellings that you will find the difference. Like in American English, the spellings are simplified, like color COLOR. In British English, it is COLOUR. American English, organize, it is Z. Analyze, it is Z. In British English, it is S. I'm sorry, here's a mistake. It should be ISE in British English. In vocabulary, American math, elevator, semester. In British, it is maths. It is lift, term. In punctuation, double quotation marks are used, single quotation marks in British. In American, periods and commas are inside the quotes. In British, periods and commas are outside the quotes. Serial comma is used in American English, and serial comma is less commonly used in British English. In grammar, used of the simple past tense, like on the weekend. Frequent use of present perfect tense at the weekend. Sorry. In the American English, it is the use of simple past tense, and it is in British English, it is frequent use of present perfect tense. In American, it is on the weekend. In British English, is at the weekend. Regarding formality, formal writing, American English is generally more direct, whereas British English retains a more formal tone. Dates and numbers, month, day, year for American, period as a decimal point, and in British style, it is day, month, year, comma as a decimal point. These are just a few among many, few differences among many. So, regarding the effective use of figures and tables, the purpose of the figures and tables should be to clarify and not repeat the information in the main text. Place them close to the first mention in the text. Merge plots, images where possible. Font of figure legends and text should be large enough to read clearly. Many students make this mistake that their pictures and their drawings and their graphs, the very small type of font is used, which is not readable. It must be readable. It must be big enough to be readable. You have to be consistent in formatting figures, tables, and captions. And you have to precisely follow the journal's author instructions and apply the templates if there is any template. Citing resources and avoiding plagiarism, very important. You have to reference and properly cite the articles, the lines, the expressions that you have borrowed from somewhere else. whenever you are using someone else's data, when you are referring to someone else's information or their data, you have to give proper referencing and citation. You have to acknowledge their contribution. Use reference management tools like Zotero and EndNote for the reference management. And it is very important because remember that when you have written your manuscript and you submit it to a journal, getting rejections from the journals is an existential phenomenon. It happens many times. It happens with everyone. And when you submit your paper to a different journal has a different format of, particularly for the citations, for the references. Where should be comma and where should be year and page number and how to use the surname and the initials. Every journal has a different format. But if you embed those references using these reference management tools like Zotero, EndNote, and Mendeley, believe me, if you want to submit to a new journal with a different format, all those formatting will be just one click away. You just press the button, select the journal from the Zotero and EndNote application, select the journal, press the button, and it will format the entire document in one second maybe. Revising and editing after you have done it, finished it, get your papers edited and proofread by your colleagues and professors. You can also use artificial intelligence based tools to check grammar, like Word. Microsoft Word has a built-in language editor. You can use it. Then you can use Grammarly, Quillbot, Papercall, etc. That's it from my side for today. Thank you very much for coming to listen to this session. You can reach me using these email addresses. And now, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saklan. We'll quickly move towards the question answer session. And meanwhile, I launch the Zoom polling. You're all requested to please poll for the session. And if you have any questions or comments, please type them in the chat box. We have a few, I'll go through them shortly. And if you want to ask something by talking to the expert, you are requested to please raise your hand and I will unmute you. So we had a comment regarding, yeah, I've shared the link for the recorded sessions. We'll be uploading them on the YouTube, CLT YouTube channel. We had a comment by our faculty member from FCCU from the psychology department. Miss Manu says that non-native would be that I don't know, and native would be it is out of the scope of my knowledge. So she made a funny comment about it. And then moving on, these are very helpful resources, says Manur Ali. Uh, Getting the articles edited by the natives is very costly. How can we manage this by our own selves? University of Peshawar, Dr. Faiza is asking this.
Well, I am also certified editor and proofreader, and I do it every day. I edit international manuscripts and papers. You can send me the manuscripts if you can afford it. But otherwise, there are different commercial companies all around the world, and if you cannot do that, then otherwise you can use uh, you can get it through your supervisor, through your professor. He's the experienced one. He has a lot of knowledge and he has a lot of experience in writing manuscripts. Use Grammarly, use Papercall. I mean, these are the artificial intelligence tools that really make a big difference. If you use the premium version of Grammarly, it is very helpful. And if you feel that some paragraph is poorly written, you can get it done through the Quillbot. Quillbot has a free feature of grammar checking and the standard writing. Uh, so you can get it done through the Quillbot, but consumes a lot of time, but it sometimes it's very helpful and makes your life easy. It removes errors. You can use Grammarly. And there are people in Pakistan, you can find it on Facebook that they give you very cheap Grammarly accounts, the premium accounts.
Yeah, we
I,
had
I,
a
I
sorry to
yes.
cut you out. We had a reply from that to the same conversation from Miss Faria. She said that you can ask professional proofreaders and generally people with linguistic or ELT backgrounds. She's added to this.
Yes, you can either hire some firm, hire some person who can write good English, or you can use AI tools. It is up to you. If you can afford it, send your papers to the editing companies. If you cannot do that, you have to use Grammarly. Use Quillbot. Yeah, it will work. Uh, but
Thank you.
you have to do a lot of practice, and practice make you perfect. Keep writing and writing. And one more thing. I believe into this, and I teach everyone that in order to become a very good writer, first you have to become a very good reader. If you consistently read with a focus to learn the style of the person that is writing, whose article you are reading, if you read it with a focus, with the aim to understand the writing styles, believe me, it will make a lot of difference. There are different perspectives, there are different ways that you are reading a research article. One of those aims is to understand the jargon, to understand the expressions, their technical language, the way they are putting the sentences, the way they are writing expressions, how it is technical and formal language. You give focus to these research articles while you're reading them. Believe me, it will explain your it will improve your English writing skills. In fact, uh, I preach it to everyone that if you want to improve your writing in English writing, always read newspapers every day. Spend 15 to 20 minutes reading newspaper every day, and after 4 or 5 months come back to me and tell me how your English language has improved. It is the practice that makes you perfect.
So, thank you, sir. Next, we have Mr. Liaquat Ali from Namal. He says, please explain Zotero, and somebody has said something about it that is a free plug-in extension-based software for citation management. If you could
Zotero
please, yeah.
is very easy. It is very handy. Uh, there are so many tutorials that are available on their website as well as on the YouTube. I think I personally have been using Zotero, and I think it is the easiest one. So you can learn in 1 hour. I assure you, it is very easy. It's not difficult. Yes, please.
Thank you. If anyone needs training, we have a volunteer. She says, Ms. Safia Sultana. She says, if anyone needs training, I can offer services. I have been using and training my students on Zotero. And so, Ms. Safia Sufia, if you can please share your email address in the chat box, that would be great. Moving on, we have a thank you note from Dr. Rana Rabab Darani. She says, thank you. It was a wonderful and impressive session. And what was the title of your research paper and how do you feel about it after so many years? Mr. Malik Alani from Tanzania is asking this.
My research paper that I shared, maybe let me share it again. In fact, that is the paper that received the highest number of citations. Uh, Let me share it with you. Uh, yeah, it is. It is mixed Brownian alignment and Néel rotations in superparamagnetic iron oxide nanoparticles driven by an AC field. It is related to the physics of magnetic particle imaging. That is an emerging technology that should be replacing MRI. So this research was conducted in USA in 2015 during my postdoc. So it is physics that is about tailoring the magnetic properties of uh, uh, nanoparticle tracers for the biomedical applications like magnetic particle imaging.
Thank you, sir. Moving on, we have Dr. Mohammad Zubair from Virtual University. He says, how can we find the research gaps, especially in mathematics and physics?
See, finding research gaps is very important. What does this mean? What does the research gap mean? Research gap means those problems in your area that have not been solved. In other words, you can call them the challenges that have not been accomplished, the problems in a technology, the problems in the research that needs your attention, the problems that have not been solved, and you will find a lot of them, particularly in the review articles. This is the beauty of the review articles, that review papers actually give you the all the particular information, all the developments in that particular research area, and it includes the challenges, includes the difficulties of commercializing those researches, commercializing those studies. So those loopholes in the studies, those research gaps, those challenges, those problems which have not been solved, it is very easy to highlight them. And in fact, uh, every research paper even mentions this in their introduction section. Introduction section is all about research gaps, and if you just read them with this particular focus that you want to find the research gaps, you will find one all the times.
Thank you. We have a lot of thank you notes from MPhil Scholar. Thank you so much for an informative session. Thank you for the informative session, Vajiha, KCWU. Thank you. Very informative session. Very informative session. Thank you. Uh, Somebody has asked about what tools you suggest for grammar, and one issue is Pakistan people discouraged to use AI tools for academic articles. I think so. You have pretty much explained it.
This is totally false. Don't listen to the people who ask you not to use AI tools. You can very well use AI tools. There is no problem with that. Uh, Listen, the journals, unless the journal is particularly specifying that you don't want to use Chat GPT or these text generative type models, uh, you are totally fine in using it, because you know you conducted some experiments and you want to write an article, you want to write that report. Now it is your choice. You want to write it yourself in a bad English, you want to get it written, you hire some firm and somebody else writes that information, and you want to chat an artificial intelligence. Journal is concerned about that the information that is reaching them, it meets all their criteria. It is the genuine, it is original, it is plagiarism free. No, you use artificial intelligence for the clarity, for the ease of your use. Yes, there are some problems in Chat GPT use, because it writes a particular mechanical type of language. It is not even remotely human. Human writes in a different way than the Chat GPT. So problem arises when you put it in a Turnitin, and Turnitin gives you an artificial intelligence AI index. If the AI index is like 10 to 20%, it is fine. But if the journal particularly specifies that you cannot use Chat GPT or the artificial intelligence, I think it is fine to use it. And in Pakistan, why should Pakistan be worried about it? Because unless your journal does not make some objections on it, you can use it. And regarding Grammarly and Quillbot or some grammar fixing AI tools, I think there is no problem with that. I use it every day, and everyone uses it. You can use it, feel free.
Thank you, sir. We'll move towards the last question. Mr. Shahid, the university name is not mentioned. How to clearly write research question? Secondly, where should we include it in research proposal?
Your research proposal is actually your research question, and research question is that what was that gap that you want to fill, what was that challenge that you want to accomplish, what was that loophole that you want to fulfill, you want to address it. So it is the research question. In other words, it is the hypothesis, it is your assumption, that assumption on which you are basing your research, and that will give you some kind of favored outcomes. So research question is a formal way to start your research. You make up your mind by doing a very extensive literature review. You find the research gaps, you find the challenges, and then you narrow down your research proposal, and you make your mind very clear that what is that particular narrow line, that narrow direction that you want to follow in that, in your particular research. So that is research question, and and your research proposal is actually an explanation of, is an elaboration of the research question.
Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Ruxana, you want to add something or done?
Gee, I am looking at the comments, Saklan, and as always, you have floored the audience. There are lots of, you know, goodwill messages and thank you messages. And what is heartwarming is to see that they are from all parts of the country, more than
Yeah.
from FCCU. There are some from Tanzania. There's some
We
from
had people from Turkey, Thailand, and
Morocco.
Egypt
Yeah,
as well. So
and Morocco, and they've all been very thankful for your session, and it was. I am sure I have seen you talk. I wonder if you told everybody that the last session you were again talking about some tips, and you were taking a bit of the